Well, hello and welcome to our Metaroom webinar with the name or the title Essentials, where we're gonna tip the iceberg of what our platform is capable as of today. As you might notice, it is not the same two guys as you saw on the invitation, which has a special background. So we tried to find a good replacement, which we found with who could present the company better than the CEO, Martin. Hi, Martin.
Hi, Henrik. Thank you. Yeah, I'm jumping in for Luca, who cannot be here today, unfortunately. But yeah, I hope I can be the best possible replace here today.
I guess so.
And to jump into all of your questions later on.
Yeah, thank you. The only thing what's missing is like telling you who I am. I'm Henrik Havel. I'm the responsible sales guy for Metaroom. And we are about to start our webinar. Let's just take another 2 minutes, I would say, or 3 minutes to see if the other people who assigned for the webinar will show up. Until then, maybe let's talk about a few essentials when it comes to the webinar. Unfortunately, it is not possible to do it as interactive as we wish we could do, since there were a lot of people assigning for the webinar. So basically, if you have any questions, please feel free at any time to drop us a note either in the chat section, or you should see the Q&A section as well. There might arise some questions, so please feel free to drop them at any time, and don't be scared to ask even stupid questions, because there are no stupid questions. What you're going to see now might be new for everyone, and we would like to answer as many questions as possible, I would say.
Great. Thanks, Henrik, for the introduction, and also a warm welcome from my side. We will jump into the agenda now together. So the first point we will look into, a very quick one, is Metaroom, who we are. Also, we will hover around today's challenges in the measurement of spaces. Then we hover around integrations. So what software interfaces do we provide from Metaroom to third-party CAD software? Also, we will go over how to. So how do we scan? Some best practices will follow later on. We will have a full platform demo. This means we will go from capture to the platform in the web, so we can all see the whole workflow running today. Also, as mentioned, we will jump into some best practice cases. So we give you all the know-how here, how to scan and how to use our technology in a very, very small and essential format today. So first of all, who is Metaroom? Yeah, basically Metaroom is a company here in Salzburg. We are employing 24 people. Most of them are in R&D. And we are sitting here a little bit south of Salzburg. Actually, weather is very close to what you see in the picture. So let's jump into the solution. You can see here on the right side 2 pictures. One is the Metaroom Scan app, which is running on iPhone Pro and iPad Pro. And in the background, you can see our platform, which provides you a web interface to optimize and then also to export your scans. So basically the workflow is always you're going from capture with the phone to the studio, which is running in the browser. Yeah, what are today's challenges? So actually, when we take a look at the different use cases on different industries, so we often see the tape measures, we see folding rulers, and sometimes you also see laser measurement tools. So these cases we can see everywhere, and basically this is kind of our competition. And also after measurement on site, you need to create a 3D model. So this is the second step after doing the measurement. Clearly this is something we also see on in different use cases, where the one that is doing the measurements and the one that is doing the drawings of these measurements are not always the same natural person. So and we've heard and seen this story a lot, that person 1 is doing the measurements on the field, on site, sending these measurements to someone who is sitting in the company, and then there is a question. Maybe there is a luminaire missing or some measurements are missing, and there's a call set up to ask person one, hey, do you remember what was here in this room? And typically person one is not on site anymore, and then this cycle of problems starts like an engine, and this altogether takes time, and that's exactly what we want to solve with Metaroom. So Metaroom should save valuable time for people that are doing the measurements and also doing the drawings internally afterwards. But Capture is just one part of the solution. We have also done a couple of integrations. We started here on the left side, also historically last year, with Relux and Dialux software, which is software specifically for light planning. We also have solutions in place for Wi-Fi and 5G network planning, and which is the third pillar, and we are very proud of that we also have a couple of very powerful interfaces, for example, to Palette CAD, which is software for carpenters and bath planners and so on. Also one of our very successful interfaces here. When we come to the solution in more detail, let's start with the capture process. So every customer journey typically starts with this. People download the app, they start scanning, and I want to talk to you a little bit about the KPIs of this technology and also what you can expect. I think it's easy to use. As you can see on the right side in the video, you can see these white lines that also represent what did you already capture, what is missing. You can add specific information. Henrik will hover around this a little bit later. When it comes to accuracy, typically one of the first questions, normally it is the first questions, how is the tolerance in measurements, how accurate is it? And I have to tell you two things before that. One is a newer device is performing better. So this means an iPhone Pro 15 is better than an iPhone 12 Pro. And what also is true, that better light conditions create also better scans. So the more light you have, artificial light, natural light, the more accurate is the solution. And typically when we are not in bad condition, we perform with 1% deviation. And this means for a standard room, 2 to 3 centimeters deviation from one wall to another. The second question is typically, so how big scans can I do, and also how can I scan a full building? We will jump into this a little bit later in more detail when it comes to scan techniques. But what we can tell you now is that there are basically no hard limitations when it comes to floors. So you can scan a room, you can scan multiple rooms, you can scan a full floor. When it comes to complete buildings, we would suggest that it should not be larger than 1,500 square meters per scan, because then the whole load on the system becomes quite high. But that's, I mean, quite a good number already. And then the second part of the workflow and the second part of our platform is the web platform, and you can use the same credentials to log in. And then you are in the browser, you have a mouse, you have a keyboard, you have a bigger screen. You can take a look at the scan you have done. And this also helps to understanding the environment better, to optimize it better, and then ultimately to export to another software. Yeah, if we go into scan techniques, we can see here that there are 3 different types, we would say. So first, everyone suggests to start with a single room. So maybe it's not a good idea to jump into a big industry hall and start your first scan in a challenging environment that needs a little bit more experience. So let's take a look on how a single room works. So that's quite easy. You just start in the center of the room. You move around like in a circle while moving the device a little bit up and down, and the white lines will pop up and everything looks good. So if you do multi-room, this means 2 single rooms. it's also a two-step process. So what this means is you start in the first room, you complete your scan by stopping, you go into the second room and add a second section. So there is this add section button on the lower end of the UI. And this is typically something that I would say 90% of the first users are not doing in this way. And I totally understand it because it's not intuitive to do it that way. I mean, you start scanning, and if the door is open, you just continue your scan and you go into the second room. But that's exactly not what we want. The solution is to complete one section, and one section can be one room. Then you stop, you go into the second room, and you add a second section. So that's multi-room. What about large space?
Let me just add one thing here. Not only talking about 2 rooms, it could be 2 or even 20 rooms following each other, like section per section, either if it's 2 rooms or 20 rooms. And even in the both vertical and horizontal direction, it would be able to scan a whole house basically.
Oh yeah, thank you, Henrik. Of course, that's just an example for 2 rooms. So we had buildings with up to 50, 60 scan sections that are then representing 50 to 60 single rooms using this technique showing here in the middle of the slide. Then when we go to large space, so large space is something that is bigger than 20 to 20 meters. You can use the same kind of workflow to separate your large space into several virtual smaller scans. So you can see here, we do the first scan in one part of this large space, and we do a second scan and a third one and a fourth one. The best way to do it would be that all of these scan sections are a little bit overlapping. Obviously, due to objects in the room and specifics in the room, this cannot always be done exactly like it is shown here, but this is just kind of a concept how to do it. One scan section, no matter if it's one room on the left side, if it's one multi-room in the center, or one section on the right side, should not extend 20 to 20 meters. We are also helping you with a dynamic assistant that is doing measurement live in the scan, and Henrik will show you afterwards how this will assist you in estimating how big is your scan section. That's exactly the moment where I hand over to Henrik for the more hands-on part. And
this is what CEOs do, you know. When it comes to work, they forward it.
That's not true.
No, that's not true. Not at all.
Not always.
Not always. Basically, what we see now here is a demo of our headquarters in Salzburg, right next to where we are sitting, basically. So what you see is basically the interface where you start a new scan by hitting the plus sign down there. And what you see afterwards is that the app basically tells you what to do, like move the device to start. And what you will see in a few seconds from now, that white lines will appear to show you that the scan is initiated, basically. I'm going to stop for a few seconds here. What you see down here is the so-called puppet house, as we call it, where you see what you already captured and which should help you to see what you haven't captured until you're done with the room. This is not like the final version of what you get. It's just a helpful piece to see how you have to move forward, basically. So jumping through the room, you see that the app is, as of today, capable of capture 16 object classes, which is chairs, tables, windows, doors, and cabinets, and whatever. But there are still some objects which the app doesn't capture. But what we are going to do with those objects, we're going to show you in a few seconds. So basically, we have done the first room. We did hit like the stop button. What you see is a first overview of what you will get. And there is 3 options now. Basically, if you are done with this room and you don't want to scan like any other rooms of the floor, you basically just hit the finish scan button. It goes up to the cloud, and after reconstruction, you will receive an email saying your 3D model is ready. On the other hand, there is the option of rescanning. So basically, there are 2 ways of rescanning. either the whole scene or the whole section is not good enough, so you scan the whole section one more time, or let's just imagine over at the wall here, there is some missing cabinets or whatever. You would be able to just add another section by just scanning the wall one more time. And yeah, the data is going to be kind of overwritten to show you that the cabinets are there. What we are going to do now, we are going to move out of this door, standing in front of it, hit the plus button and add another segment. So as we are talking, we are moving out of the room, standing in front of the door and hitting the plus button. So another section has been started. You see the white lines again. And we are going to move into basically the open kitchen. What you see in the middle of the screen is basically the white cross. With the white cross, we would be able to aim at several objects which the app is not capable of detecting today. And basically what we can do with this coordinates we are aiming at here, we would be able to work on those objects later on in the Metaroom platform. We're just walking in through the open kitchen now, and what you will see hanging at the wall is the heating or the radiators in a few seconds, which the app won't detect at the moment. So what we are doing in this moment, we are aiming for the heating, and we will press the snapshot button. What you will see is the green frame, and it will count the cards of the snapshots up there. Same as what we are going to do now with the luminaires at the ceiling, because it's interesting for our planning later on. We are going to set a snapshot here. While walking around the open kitchen and walking around the open floor now, what you will see, which will appear in a few seconds, is a round column. As of today, the app has a bit of a problem with round surfaces, I would say. Same is with the round pillar or column we're going to see in a few seconds here. As you can see, there is no white lines appearing. So basically what we have to do is set a snapshot there as well. There we go. And now, as Martin mentioned before, we are walking through the whole floor. And now the open question is, at what time do I know that a section is too big? You will get a warning. The warning says the limit is close to be reached. Please go back to where you started this section and come back here and start another section. This is the first warning. What you will see on top of that is that the white lines somehow disappear, which means, okay, there is not too many measures taken anymore. I'm going to fast forward it a little bit here. And walking back the floor, you see the white lines will appear again. But still, the section is growing bigger and bigger. And there's a last warning saying, hey, the app ultimate limit is reached by now. Good thing is that we are on the way to the point where we started this section. So we are stopping right here, pressing the stop button. What you will see now is basically all the sections you have been scanning from the first section to the second section. The last section you scanned will always appear in that light pinkish color to show you, okay, this is the last thing you scanned. On top of that, you see the first section being gray, basically. What you can do here, if there have been problems in between, because one of the mistakes you can do if you scan the first time is that you don't close the doors while scanning. It could be that it's not detected as a door anymore, but as an opening, I would say. What you can do here, hit the edit button, and then you would be able to change openings to a door, or even windows to an opening, or the other way around. And you would be able to delete single objects like cabinets or kitchens. If you don't need them in your further planning, then you should already delete it by now. As we are done now, we just finished the scan by sending it up to the cloud, giving the whole project a name. And now the scan is up, being reconstructed, and in a few minutes from now, you would find it on the Metaroom platform where you could work on it, which we are going to see now. You will find our platform at studio.amrex.ai. Just hit it. And this is basically the platform. As Martin mentioned before, you log in here with this same credentials as in the app, same email address and same password. you're going to be introduced to to further steps if you're new to our platform, like helping you a little bit to move forward. What you see here is a help center with different tutorials, a help center itself, and even the support hotline if you need urgent help. But let's start in the beginning by hitting the Projects tab. You're going to end up with a full list of everything you ever scanned. We are going to our Metaroom demo room, the one we just saw in the scan video, hitting the button and ending up seeing the reconstructed 3D model now. Just wait until we have loaded all the textures. There we go. And this is what you get basically after a few minutes. But let's start from the left side. What you see here is a complete model tree of everything the app detected while scanning. So you get the whole floor, and even the AI already predefined some rooms, which you can just click on and see here. On top of that, you would be able to open the rooms as well and see every object the app detected while scanning as well. From here, you would even be able to rename it if you like to, and adding some notes. So in German, we would say you can use Metaroom, the Metaroom platform as a room book as well, taking all your notes and working and collaborate on them with more people. Having said that, we are going to jump into the 3D model. What we see here is all the green cards, basically the snapshots we took while scanning. And this is what the textures are really good for, because what we see down here, if we move a bit further into the scan itself, you see the texture on the floor down here, which should have been the column, which couldn't be detected by the app. But luckily, we did a snapshot on it. I would be able to click the snapshot, and now the magic basically happens. What you see here is, on the first side, it's looking like a plain 2D photo snapshot, but actually, we are working in the 3D world and 2D world at the same time. You see that your mouse is going to change to the magic pencil, we call it. And from now on, our AI would be able to detect objects within those, within this scan frame, I would say, or even the snapshot. So basically, for now, for us now, it is really important, to rework that column and get it back to the 3D scene again. So basically, what I'm just doing is clicking on the column, and it would create a box for me right where we set the snapshot before. I would be able to rework the column, like to hit the structures on the floor. But on the other hand, what you see up here is that the AI detected more of those frames right next or from a different point of view or angle from where I did set the coordinates or the snapshots. So I could move through those pictures saying, okay, this is the next one from a different angle. And the AI still recognizes that I'm working within the same object, just hitting the column again. And what you will see is that we're going to get closer to the real surface, I would say. There's a third one over here. And I'm just giving it a last click. And basically, we found the whole structure, just putting it in the right direction. And basically giving it a name if I like to, even the IFC type, by just saying this is a column and saving it basically to the environment. And this we could do with every object we will find in those snapshots. What you can see on top here, what we did already a bit of pre-work, seeing this luminaire, which we already created an object of. Going into the kitchen, where we would find another luminaire, and we would like to add this one to the object as well by just clicking it again, and it will appear. We just save it again, saying IFC type lamp in this case, and we would have it into the 3D object. Again, this would be able with every object you will find in those snapshots. But there are some times where you have to run through an object pretty fast, because there is not much time. Your boss told you to work through the whole object pretty fast. what if you forgot to set snapshots basically over here somewhere? On top of that, on top of the snapshots, we are helping you as well here, because there is a button up here in the toolbar called scan or show scan path. So basically, we would be able to show you how the one who scanned was walking while scanning, even the direction he was walking through. And if we hover across those pinkish balls, you will see in which direction the one was looking while scanning. And you would even be able to open those frames as well. So basically, let's just pretend we forgot to set a snapshot on the emergency light. So basically with one click, I could add it to the whole scenery and saving it pretty fast. So even if you have never been to the object yourself and you are the one to have to recreate that 3D object or model, you would be able to walk through the whole scan scenery basically. On top of that, if we are talking about the toolbar up here, let's just see what the other buttons are for. So we're gonna hide all we saw before. And of course, there is a measurement tool as well, with which you would see the measurements you need in terms of height and width from every object. Even the table would show you all measurements. On top of that, what we could serve you with, talking about painters, if they need like the total area or the net area, excluding windows, we would be able to show that on top. Of course, there is a way to hide all the assets to get a better view on the whole object itself, or even hide the textures, which makes it a bit more calm, like if you would like to rework it without seeing the textures. Yeah, and this brings us basically to the last button, which is the export button. Just imagine we have done all the after work more or less, and we would be able to export the stage or the scenery, which we do here, where you can see all the different export formats we are serving with at the moment, by just scrolling up and down. We have different IFCs, collaborations. You might have noticed already, if there is any open question or any open, maybe you find an export which we don't serve with yet, please drop us a note and we would try to make it happen somehow. Yeah, on top of that, as some of you might be informed about, we made a step, I wouldn't say backwards, but in the other direction, coming back to 2D scenes, or
losing one dimension.
Losing one dimension again, because we had a lot of requests from different industries saying, hey, I would like to have a plain, let's say 2D DXF, or just a 2D floor plan, or even a project report. And I'm going to show you the project report right now, because this is what we think is turned out to be really, really good, and the flagship of everything we did when it comes to 2D scenery, basically. So let's just hope I find the right one now. It's this one, right? Yep. Open it. By now you should see the PDF report of another object we just scanned beginning of this week, which is 170 square meters, a lot of rooms. And this is basically what you get after 5 minutes of reconstruction directly into your export folder. We have 46 pages, oh no, it's less, it's 39 pages of a total overview, the table of content showing you how many floors, how many rooms, if you did snapshots. And on top of that, the whole 2D stage plan, where you would be able to zoom in until the smallest tile, basically. On top of that, we are splitting it up even to all the different rooms, showing you one by one, and even all the measurements of all objects you will find in this room. And on top of that, we would even be able to send you all the snapshots you did with every room, just to make sure that you, once you print it and give it to either your customer, or you're going to save it in your own folders, you get everything with it. Even if you took notes, they will show up room by room here. What I forgot to show you is basically, let's say, a first case of how good scanning and not so good scanning could look like, showing you the project X, where you just saw the PDF project plan of, is basically the better you scan, the more time you take for scanning, the better the textures will show up. What you will see here is I did a quite good job scanning here, where you see like the whole floor and the structure really good, and having the room right here where I just scan quite quickly. Every time when we don't have enough data like to reconstruct the texture, we're gonna set in a placeholder which will look like that. Yeah, I think by now you should have gotten a nice overview of what the Metaroom platform is about so far. Did I miss something, Martin? Any open questions?
Yeah, maybe what we could add is that also you receive a north heading direction, which could be possibly useful for light planners doing natural light calculation, and a GPS location, an OpenStreet location that you can also use. Yep. Yeah, thanks a lot, Henrik. So this was the whole story from capture to going into the platform, doing all of these features on top. And I mean, what we experience from basically the users is that typically, I mean, not typically, in every time, the customer journey starts with the app. And during the scan with the app, you just have a preview. You can do so much more when you go to the platform, as you have seen now, the sneak peek, yeah, this allows you really to get all of these details into your scan that have not been captured automatically. So maybe let's jump into preparation. So if you go into a building or a room you want to scan, then it's a good choice to go around first before you start scanning. And we want to give you a couple of best practice tips here. So the first one is, the more light you have, the better. So this means open the curtains, all the shadings to let in all the natural light, and also turn on all the artificial lights. So the more light you have, the better result you will get. Also, I mean, everyone has this, also I have it, to clean the camera lens, as there's typically some, dust on it. So that also helps.
And dirty fingerprints. If you have kids, you know exactly what I'm talking of. You have all those buttery fingerprints on the lenses and even the LiDAR sensor. So make sure that it is cleaned as good as possible, because the result's gonna be better.
Yeah, I also forget it all the time, but it's good to
we have to tell it to the people.
Double mention that. Yeah. Move device slow. In general, moving the device fast. For example, if people switch the room and they have an iPad and then they do a quick turn with the iPad, this can influence our solution with bad tracking, let's say. Mm-hmm. So maybe the rooms are then not built together in a perfect way. So even if you stop the scan section and you move to another room, still move the device slow.
So don't put it in your pocket in between. I mean, it is quite hard to put your iPad in the pocket, in the back pocket, but same goes for iPhones and stuff. Always in between rooms, there is someone coming around trying to talk to you, or the phone is ringing or whatever. Don't put it in your pocket. It might lose its tracking.
Yeah, that's exactly what Henrik mentioned now. So don't cover the camera between these two scans. So not put the phone into the pocket, or cover the sensors, the cameras from your device while doing a bigger scan. And if you have a big scan done, then please keep the app in foreground so the upload can be finished in one go. If you have no internet, for example, that's no problem. You still can do a capture process. And when you come back into an area where you have internet, then the app will try to connect. And this can be hours later, and then starts the upload. So that's no problem at all. Coming to the end of let's say, the planned part before jumping into your questions. Let's share one customer case with you, and that's quite a big one. It's the university hospital in Lausanne in Switzerland, And one of our customers scanned it to do light planning. And you can see a couple of interesting KPIs there. So it's 3 buildings with 7 floors. It's 3 minutes per room. And this customer scanned more than 500 rooms, I think 533.
Exactly.
533 rooms representing more than 15,000 square meters scanned area. And this, of course, saved a lot of manual measurements. So imagine yourself standing in front of this building and someone tells you, go and measure it. So this can be quite a good tool to assist you in these tasks. And that's really a very successful case we can share here with you.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Martin. We are good in time. It's 20 minutes left for Q&As in this case. I saw a few already. Let's just jump into the chat and into the Q&A. It is basically the same question. It's just for iOS, or it's useful to Android as well? And we have the same question here. Why do I need an Apple Pro device? Will a version for Android come? So quite overlapping this question.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. So basically, I mean, going back for some years, we started our development in the Android ecosystem. Nevertheless, when we see what Apple has done to sensors in the last 4 years, we can say that this is by far the best sensor you can get on consumer hardware. And there are a couple of reasons for that. So first one is that Apple does a specific calibration between the LiDAR sensor and also the cameras. And the second reason is that there is a LiDAR sensor, which many Android phones just don't have it. I mean, what LiDAR gives you, and this is specifically true for all of us, and also I think for most of the people that are now watching us here, that we are in the B2B space. And in the B2B space, you want to have a robust solution. So it's not the question if we want to go to Android, it's more the question when there will be devices in the Android ecosystem that provide the same stability and robustness in depth measurement as Apple Pro devices today do.
Exactly. So basically, we would wish for that Android would go the same path basically as Apple. So
yeah.
If you want to help us, please
write Samsung.
Write to Samsung and Google like to implement LiDAR sensors.
Yeah.
Exactly. iPhone 15 Pro Max. I have problems detecting stairs or small differences in level, 5 to 10 centimeters in the floor.
Yep. That's very true what you experience. You can imagine the system like this. It will kind of voxelize the space, and the app will see the world around us pretty close to how Minecraft looks. So it will create small blocks, and these blocks are around about 7 centimeters in size. So if there is a small gap in geometry, a change in the ceiling height, for example, that is close to 5 centimeters, then it can be represented or not. So this is still something that is, happening in the automatic way you do it. But if this step is important for you, you can take a snapshot and then use Metaroom Studio to add a custom geometry to exactly identify this specific area.
To basically rebuild the object in the Metaroom or on the Metaroom platform.
Yep.
While putting it in close to the texture you basically see, because then you would be able to do it as good as possible in a measurement kind of way. Just have to jump up again. Do I need to have a stable internet connection to scan a space? I think you just mentioned it before, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you have really bad internet, then it's better to go into airplane mode, so the app knows there is no internet. Otherwise, it will try to upload using very bad connection. You can create a scan, you can do the scan, and you can complete the scan completely offline. And then when you come back into better internet condition, just deactivate airplane mode, and upload will be possible.
Exactly. This is something we tried very often since them coming from Germany, in my case, you know, we are a third world country when it comes to Wi-Fi and good connections. Next one. Can you show how this is combined, transferred via to Dialux or Relux? Unfortunately, in the space of time, we can't do this today, but you would be able to, if you just write to us, maybe we can serve you with an export format, either to Relux or Dialux, what you like. You can try it yourself, or you just book an appointment with us, and then we're going to show it to you. We would be happy to show it to you.
I mean, if you want to do a first test on your own, you can go to export and just export Dialux or Relux. There is a export format that is named Dialux, and there is another one that is named Relux. There is also a video that shows how to do it. So if you want to go for this as a quick test, you can do it on your own. But of course, we also are happy to help you in onboarding to these processes.
Exactly. If you have the right device, we would love to welcome you as a registered customer, since you would be able to have or to start a 10 days free trial where you could shoot in any direction, like scanning as much as you want and exporting in every direction and every format, like trying what's the best for you. What else do we have? What is the best strategy to scan shopping mall common area?
Yeah, so maybe 2 best practices on that. So typically shopping mall has a lot of glass and maybe also mirrors. So both surfaces that are challenging to scan. So we would suggest to not to film too much on the glass, but more on the frame, go more on the frames around, and it will still find a wall. And the second thing is that I would segment it into maybe 5 to 10 sections that are not larger than 20 to 20 meters. And then take this as one scan project and then do another one. So I would not go for anything larger in full length that is maybe exceeding 100 meters, even if you use the scan section strategy we showed before.
Yes. Good question. Is it better to use an iPad Pro or an iPhone? Exist any difference?
Yes. So, I mean, if you would ask Apple, they would tell you no. There is no official difference. What we can tell you from our experience, having now received 6-digit scans, is that iPhone Pro works better when it comes to the tracking. So if you do multiple rooms, then somehow 3 cameras seem to be more stable than 2. So we would suggest everyone using an iPhone Pro. Also, when you take a look at our data, 85% of scans are coming in from iPhone and 15% are coming from iPad. And we do see way more tracking issues in these 15%, even if you statistically, do it right. So we would everyone suggest to use an iPhone Pro.
Yeah, I mean, if you are already the owner of an iPad Pro, of course you should give it a try, because if you move a bit slower with the iPad, even in worse light conditions, it still works really good. You just have to get used how to use it and use it, as I said, a bit slower than with the iPhone 15, which works a bit better, having 3 cameras instead of 2. And not those small issues.
Maybe it's a little bit more fragile in stability when it comes to larger scans.
Exactly.
I think that's the way we could explain it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is it possible to scan the staircase?
Oh yes, that's a very good one. So there is also a technique to do it. I mean, also here I have to add 2 things. First of all, the situation we have today is that if you have 1 floor and you scan one part of the stair, that will be added to 1 floor. And then you change the floor and you add the second part of the stairs, because typically there are 2 parts, to the second floor. So don't move along the whole stair and try to do the whole stair in 1 floor. So that helps. But still, we use 1 stair model for every stair on the planet, and this stair model has 5 steps.
Yeah, so basically it's a placeholder we're gonna set into the 3D scene, which is the same either if the the staircase is 3 meters long or 30 meters, it's going to end up with the same placeholder having 5 stairs.
Yep. So yes, you can do it. It could look a little bit weird, but it's there, and it's an intelligent object.
It is. Can some parts of an already closed scan be scanned again? For example, a room scan did not turn out well. Can only that one room be rescanned after we have already finished scanning?
If you are in the scan process, so let's imagine you have done 4 scan sections and you are still on site, and the 4th scan section is not good, then you can rescan this 4th one, or you can add a 5th one to kind of overwrite the old one. One example would be you're scanning a room, it's the 3rd room, and maybe a window is missing. So you could add another scan section, just record the window, and it will complete the scan, adding the window to the room you have already scanned. So you can kind of also optimize your model doing scan sections in the same area where you have scanned. If the scan is completed, this means you pressed finish scan, you uploaded, pipeline created the model and everything. Today, there is no way to add a scan to an old scan. But the good news is we are working on that. So we see this as a use case to merge 2 scans together or to replace parts of that in the future.
Putting pressure on the whole team right now.
It's coming tomorrow.
We are working on it in 2 weeks. No, it's gonna take a bit more, but we had that request from different industries, like even to combine different scans on it together. There might be some CAD programs out there which are already able to do it, like with 2 different IFC formats or whatever. But we try to get it done on our side as well. But it's going to take some time, I guess. Could I scan outside of the building and merge it with the indoor model?
Yeah, that's also a good question. I mean, first of all, the app always needs 1 wall and 1 floor. So if you are outside of a building and you scan the outside of a wall and 1 floor, then you will get a result. Nevertheless, the solution is built for indoor environment. So there are a couple of methods that apply to a scan, like building a floor and building a ceiling. So all of these methods are not optimized for outdoor. So we cannot say it doesn't work, because if you go outside and scan 1 wall, you will get 1 wall. But if you scan a full building from the outside, typically the methods we apply will kind of, make the model not better. Let's say it like this, maybe. So it's not built for outdoor today.
Not yet, we can say, but we are working on it. No, we are not at the moment, but
no,
maybe in the future. Let's just go a bit further. Is it possible to scan objects and outdoor objects buildings? We answered this basically with the last question. How to scan a room with non-orthogonal or orthogonal walls? I tried, but the result is not satisfactory. Did I do something wrong?
It depends on the angle. So as I mentioned before, there is some kind of tolerance in this whole reconstruction. So if you imagine there are 2 walls and one is like 89 degrees, then our solution will optimize it and will build up again an orthogonal wall. But that's not true if there is really a difference in angle. So if it's, for example, 80 degrees, we can build this angle. So it's possible to build complex floor plans having angled walls. But if the angle is too small away from orthogonal, then we will kind of optimize it away. I think that's the issue here.
Next one. For exporting to Ranplan, are material types defined in Metaroom or in Ranplan?
Actually, we already give kind of a suggestion. So we have different material properties that we already apply to the scan to some very simple rules. So we already add these materials, like it's a wooden wall, it's a stone wall, or maybe it's a wooden table or a metal table. what is identifiable with vision. So also things you can see, we cannot, look inside a wall. So everything we can see, we try to reconstruct and also hand over to Ranplan.
Good. Then it is basically the last one as far as I can see. How to measure rooms where there are glass walls or partitions?
Oh yeah, that's a very good question. So, I mean, the intuitive way, if you film or scan a glass wall and it doesn't pop up, is that you will film more to the glass wall. But that's exactly the opposite of what you should do. So the best practice to scan glass walls is to scan them as less as possible and just follow the frame. So you would be more on the ceiling, more on the cement wall, and just try to have the aluminum frame or the metal frame of the glass wall a little bit in the picture. And you would follow this for the whole glass element. And then typically you can get it. Otherwise, you will get more likely the objects behind the glass wall. And then the glass wall will never pop up again because, yeah, obviously everything is then somehow messed up. So, yeah, but that's a very good question. I mean, it happens to a lot of people that if we go into, we tell people go into office rooms, scan office rooms, and then a lot of office rooms, they do have glass walls. So we do hear this a lot. And there is also kind of best practice for that.
Yeah. This is basically it as far as I can see. I hope we answered every question. If not, please raise your hand, or I was about to say scream, but as far as I can see, there is no open questions. Well, then I would say thank you for sharing your time with us. Thank you for being with us. We would love, if there are follow-up questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. I'm gonna write down my email address in the chat right now. And if you have questions regarding pricing, we don't wanted to make it a price discussion right now. Feel free to visit the pricing page either on the Metaroom platform or on our website. You will see that we have like 3 different accounts or packages to sell, coming from 2D and even to the 3D plans for what I would call a reasonable price, with unlimited scans and unlimited exports. Other than that, as I said, if you have other follow-up questions, please drop me a line or get in contact with us. If you want to have another let's say demo or looking into dialogues. One more or less. Any issues with tall ceilings, 30 to 40 feet, or large open spaces like atriums or vertical openings?
I think that comes down to the maximum scan distance. If you are like 2 meters tall with your hands, you can add like 7 meters maximum scan distance. So everything that is higher than 9 meters, you cannot scan because we cannot see it in the data. And that's also true for walls. That's like the maximum scan recognition distance. But beside of that, I would say if you go through the platform, you can kind of reconstruct also, let's say, geometrically difficult ceilings using that workflow that Henrik showed us before.
Exactly. Right in time, 3 minutes left. Thank you very much, everyone. Hope to hear from you soon. As I said, if there's any open questions, feel free to get in contact with us. Have a nice afternoon. Have a nice evening. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. Have a nice evening.